Here's your forecast from the First Alert Weather Team.
Always tracking the next thing in the First Alert Forecast Center, and the next real item of interest is another tropical entity. It's a potential tropical cyclone number 9 on the season right now, but it's likely to gain its footing in the Caribbean and ultimately Gulf and punch up to the west of the Cape Fear region. So that old narrative remains that we'll be on the easternmost periphery of its sphere of influence. And that means some rain bands. You follow the chances on the graph, we start to get in them later in the week, like Thursday night and Friday, still the highest percentages. Could be some gusty storms mixing with the showers, but the far more significant impacts appear to be to the west. Never mind that Florida landfall there on the Gulf Coast side. That'll be the most severe of all. Framing your forecast for today around a commute looks pretty good. A few stray showers and storms continuing to dot the radar. We've had those for the last few days, but a whole lot of dry time to appreciate. It's been nice. 8 to 4 will go on your cloud and precip model. You see some cloud intervals, and again, those stray showers and storms with a lot of dry spacing. Let's pick things up from 4 p.m. with this lower resolution product, because we're going to go longer range, and I want to show you, here we are on Thursday. We're looking at the thicker bands around what will likely be Hurricane Helene punching into the Florida Peninsula. So the Savannah Valley's getting it pretty dense. Overnight Thursday and into Friday, a quick passage of some of those thicker rain bands, and then just a few leftovers dotting the rest of your 7-day forecast period. Asking our model to tally rainfall. It's always good to look at the guidance. Remember, we don't take it for gospel truth, but I think it's up to some sensible things in painting the largest swath of rain across the Carolinas with this whole passage to the west of us here in the Cape Fear region. So your 7-day forecast repackages some of these ideas. Clouds and stray storms, some sun, enough rays to get to the lower 80s today. Summery vibes tomorrow with a low chance for a shower or storm. Mid 80s with those dew points up ahead of our tropical system that makes a Florida landfall on Thursday. Passes to our west. We'll put you on alert there into Friday, expanding your forecast from the weekend and Monday, wrapping up September into the early parts of October. Now it looks like that, and it always looks like that on your WECT weather app. Get a 10-day forecast. Back to the here and now. We're looking at the breakers dark and early in Ocean Isle Beach. We can move with the camera network to the Murchison building in downtown Wilmington. A fog-free view. That's the rule, not the exception. 71 degrees in the port city. The dew point a little bit muggy at 68. And not for nothing, Kim and Bill, all over the map. Temperatures running in the 60s and 70s here at 514. The thing about this hurricane season, we've had 7 named storms, about to have 8. Just about all of them have made landfall.
Yeah.
And this will be, if it hits Florida as a hurricane, the 4th hurricane landfall in the U.S. so far. Beryl, Debbie, Francine.
All in that same general vicinity.
Yeah. So the Gulf just taking the greatest punishment so far.
It never ceases to amaze me, though, how far out those rain bands go when you focus on where it is supposed to hit and then where we are.
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago, the forecast cones from the National Hurricane Center were really wide at day 3, 4, and 5. They've gotten so narrow now, almost like 90% of the time, the influence of these things is wider than the cone. So, yeah, it's important to keep that in perspective, too.
So looking at like Alabama, Mississippi, et cetera, they're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, right?
They get the western flank of it, but Florida's number 1, it would appear. A really hard-hit stretch of coastline about to get it again.
All right, Kenny, thanks.
Thank you all.